Alright, welcome to the channel everybody. Some of you saw last Saturday during the Coco Nation, I actually live streamed the building of this Artemis Keyboard version 2. So basically that was rather long and I didn't really talk much during it. So I wanted to just kind of condense this down and kind of go over the details of what we're looking at here. At this point I'm just cleaning it up a little bit. There was some fingerprints on it because somebody was eating potato chips earlier. Anyway, still not perfect, but good enough for government work. Alright, getting ready to install the switches. Here are the actual switches I ordered from AliExpress. You can get them from Amazon, just more expensive but faster. These are a 5-pin MMD cream. If you accidentally order 3-pin switches, you can use them. It's just a pain. You have to solder one switch in place and then heat up the solder and make sure it's perfectly square, which you can do with the silk screen on this board. But if you just get 5-pin switches, you don't have to worry about that. They line up perfectly. So what I like to do with these is I'll put in a whole row at a time. These 5-pin switches don't fall out the way a 3-pin switch would. We got a row in. Now we'll flip this thing over and do our first bit of soldering. Again, this is pretty straightforward. This is another reason you clean the board before you assemble it, is you don't want any finger oils on your solder pads or anything. You want it all nice and clean so it'll accept the solder. You can see my little RGB LED is already happily soldered in place there. Every one of these boards that I send out will already have the RGB LED and the right angle connector soldered onto the board. Also, the 3 resistors for the LED will be pre-installed as well.
Emotional illusion leaves behind its mark. Sometimes they come tumbling out like shadows in the dark. I get this feeling.
Okay, so now I look down the edge and I look for any keys that aren't quite perfectly seated. Maybe not sitting totally flat. And there's like maybe 1 or 2 per row that I just need to reflow the solder and press the key down to the board. Once I'm happy with that, Move on to the next row. Just start dropping in keys. Got another row in and ready to solder.
When I think about all I have seen and all I'll never see, when I think about the people who have opened up to me, I get this feeling. Scars of pleasure, scars of pain.
Okay. Okay, we finished that row soldering. Now I'm inspecting. I have a couple of joints I'm not too happy with. Add a little more solder. Looking for keys not quite seated. So there you can see one. There you can see another. So I press it with my finger while I reflow the solder. Ready for that third row.
Snow falls deep around my house and holds a winter light. I've heard the lions hunting in the Serengeti night. I get this feeling. Forests turn to factories and rivers, sea and sky. Hungry child in the desert, and the flies that cloud her eyes. I get this feeling. Scars of pleasure, scars of pain. Atmosphere is changes, making sensitive again. Scars of pleasure, scars of pain. Atmosphere is changes, making sensitive again. Scars of pleasure, scars of pain. Atmosphere is changes, making sensitive again. Scars of pleasure, scars of pain. Atmosphere is changes, making sensitive again.
Work it on down the line.
Pleasure leaves a fingerprint as surely as mortal pain. In memories they resonate and echo back again. Scars of pain. Atmosphere is changes, making sensitive again. Scars of pleasure, scars of pain. Atmosphere is changes, making sensitive again. Scars of pleasure, scars of pain. Atmosphere is changes, making sensitive again. Energy is contagious, enthusiasm spreads. Tides respond to lunar gravitation. Everything turns and sinks at its rotation.
Alright, just looking for anything that needs a touch up. Looking for switches not quite sitting flat. I think I got that whole row.
Laughter is infectious. Excitement goes to my head. Winds are stirred by planets in rotation. Sparks ignite and spread new information. Respond, vibrates, feedback, resonate. Sun dogs fire on the horizon.
comes the fourth row. Have one of them that wants to fall out. That's not a big deal. As you get to this point, you just kind of put a little extra weight down on the board with your arm, and that kind of keeps the switches pressed flat onto the PCB. Alright, and there we go. That's 4 rows down. Take a quick look. Okay, so that is basically completed. We need to add keycaps, of course, and right now we're going to look at this flexible cable connector. I had a batch of flat flex cables made. You can see I got a right angle edge connector on my keyboard. Basically it's the same as the edge connector on the Coco motherboard, except it has dual wipe contacts. So you can put the flex cable into the keyboard in either direction and it'll make contact, whereas on a lot of color computer motherboards it's only a single wipe. So this means that this will work with a Coco 1 or 2 or Coco 3. Doesn't matter what connector is on the motherboard, and you won't need any special adapters. So now we're going to talk about the LED. It's a surface mount RGB LED, and it actually gets mounted on the reverse side. This makes it a lot easier for me to solder it in place with my shaky hands. Those traces go over to this side of the board where we have 3 LED resistors and a 4-pin header, and the label is pretty clear. You got your red, green, common anode, and blue. So if you just want to run straight power to any one or all 3 of those colors, you can do that. 5 volts goes to the common anode pin, and then you can ground any or all of the other 3 pins to add that color to your power LED. So if you ground the green, you'll get a green. If you ground red and green, you'll get like an orange. If you ground red and blue, you'll get purple. So that's just for a basic power light. Now, every keyboard that I have sent out so far, I have included one of my turbo LED boards. But the problem is these boards are designed for a common cathode LED, so I had to do some bodges on the back and wire the LED a little bit differently to get those to even work at all, which I'm not even sure they will at this point. I haven't really properly tested them. But I wanted to get your keyboards out to you, so I think the LED was a little less important than the keyboard itself. We can always deal with the LED. Now that we have the thing built, what we need to do is talk about these traces here. If you read the fine print there, it says 5-volt ground for MCU. So what does that mean? Well, this is an Arduino Pro Mini. It is a 3.3 volt, 8 megahertz version. And basically, first thing you need to do to get one of these ready to go is put on a 2-pin header. But you need the 5-volt pin to continue straight through, and this is way longer than it needs to be. And maybe mark the red for the power here. This is a non-polarized socket, so it's very easy to plug it in backwards. And if you do, you will be buying a new microcontroller soon. So just be careful about that. The red wire goes back towards the keyboard connector. So one of these little 2-pin DuPont connectors can go right there, and this can connect right to the motherboard, and then you'll have a power LED that will flash whatever you have programmed into the MCU. Okay, we have the MCU installed on the board. We can go ahead and test this now. So what I have here is just a 5-volt center positive barrel jack. So I'm going to slide the whole of this down over the positive lead, and the outside can touch the negative lead, just like so, and you can see the light. Even though we're looking through the back of this thing, it's so bright you can see it just fine. And one thing I notice here, I'd already flashed this with the what I call the cursor program. So it's basically flashing the LED in the sequence of the Coco's cursor. Goes green, yellow, blue, red, buff, cayenne, magenta, and then it's supposed to go orange back to green, but it's going yellow, orange, purple, yellow, orange, green. So I've got an extra step in my Arduino code for some silly reason. So this is a good opportunity to show you how we flash the MCU. And basically you just need one of these FTDI boards. So this one has a female header on there. I could solder pins onto there, but I don't see a need to do that. I'm just going to put these pins in there, and this goes on the board with the components facing the MCU. And that basically lines up all the pins with the MCU so that we can program this directly from my laptop. So I downloaded the sample code that just fades from red to green to blue, and I'm teaching myself how to program the Arduino using that code as a foundation. So I made this version, basically instead of just red, green, and blue, it should go through the entire spectrum. So I'm gonna put this in here. And now I'm going to plug in my USB from the laptop. Good. Okay, I think the weight of the cord will keep just enough pressure on there. Upload. Okay, done uploading. And now, if I put my power back on, and we'll watch the LED over here. So again, the center goes over the upper lead. So there you go. Programming your MCU is just that simple. Oh, I did forget to mention, when you're using one of these, you definitely need to make sure you set the voltage right. Some of them have a jumper. Some of them, like this, have a little switch to go between 5 volt and 3.3 volt. So I have a 3.3 volt MCU, so I make sure and set that to 3.3. Well, now we come to the final piece of the puzzle, keycaps. So the keycaps are ultimately the final expression of your own keyboard, how you want it to look, how you want it to feel. And if you look online like eBay or Amazon, they're almost limitless what you can find out there to customize your keyboard for whatever your personal preferences are. You can make it look however you want. The important things to consider, well, obviously the aesthetics are one thing, but the profile is kind of important for us. So what do I mean by profiled? Keycaps come in different profiles. So here you can see the cherry profile is very similar to the OEM profile, but just a little shorter. I think the OEM profile is actually the closest to an original Radio Shack, like the deluxe keyboards, the full travel keyboards. I either generally tend to stick with OEM or XDA profile. The reason I like the XDA profile is that it's nice and flat. They're all the same profile across all rows, and it just gives a nice, kind of modern, clean look to it. And these have a nice sound to them, kind of not loud. So one of the biggest problems to overcome getting modern keycaps for retro computers is that a lot of the keycap legends are not the same. For example, above the 2 we have the @ symbol instead of a quotation mark. The 6 is supposed to have the ampersand. The 7 should have the apostrophe. 8 should be the open parentheses, 9 should be closed parentheses, and 0 should just be a 0 all by itself. So you can see there's keycaps that fit perfectly, but we can't get all the correct legends just easily or cheaply. Well, we can actually. There's different methods. So the first and probably the cheapest method is just stickers. So this is basically the same keycap set, but I printed out some very thin stickers. Here's a sample of it. These are wire labels, and I print out the legend that I want, and then I cut it out with an X-Acto knife. And I try to avoid corners, because that's where a sticker will eventually peel up first, is at a corner. I've been using this particular keyboard for a little while and haven't had any issues with sticker peeling, although these are keys that I don't, you don't use those a lot. They look okay-ish. You can see that it's a sticker if you look close, but it's labeled correctly, and that's kind of the important thing. This red brake key is actually a DSA profile rather than XDA. So the top of it only sits a little bit lower. The main difference is that the bottom is raised up. SDA is not a bad profile to use. It kind of gives you the look of a melty keyboard, if you're into that. Now, even though I say I prefer XDA profile, that doesn't mean you can't use OEM profile. This is a set that I got for the retro look. It comes with a red brake key, actually an escape key. I use these white keys. Actually, the white keys are XDA profile, and you can kind of get away with using the XDA profile in rows 2 and 3 here. They're not perfectly matched, but they kind of blend in just fine, and you actually get a very slight raised edge there that gives your pinky a good feel for when you're on backspace as opposed to enter. And I think I kind of like that. I'm gonna live with that for a while, see how it plays out. As you can see, I did stickers on this keyboard too. I don't know if you can see them actually. Maybe not in the current light. The white arrow keys on the left, I'm really happy with how those turned out. My backspace, I wanted to put the word backspace there, but it was a little too wide, so I'm debating if I'm going to just maybe abbreviate it or just put a big arrow there. But basically for these keys, you can see that they're not quite white, so I actually printed these with like a yellow tint to them. And it kind of blends in. These are a little bit lighter than the yellow on the keyboard, so I tried darkening it, and then that's what I got. So that's a little too dark. It's obviously something that takes a little trial and error to get it just right. So I'm just going to swap that keyboard out, just to point out how it changes the look of this computer. Just kind of gives it a whole new character, you know. So even though we're looking at the same computer, just the retro keyboard here, it has a nice sound to it. Kind of feels like the original keyboard. I actually kind of like this OEM profile quite a bit as well. And it turns out we don't really have too much issue with having to rearrange the rows of keys, especially if you do stickers. Or another thing that I will be experimenting with soon is dye sublimation, which is basically like iron on keycaps. But I'll be researching that, and definitely keep y'all posted. It's a little awkward with the tripod kind of in my way, but we'll see what we can do here. Oh. Might help if I actually switch the video so you can see what I'm doing. So we're playing Nick Marenti's Pac Man clone, and this is the newer version. He has an older version that does not work with the keyboard correctly, so kind of scared me the first time I tried this. Okay. Press joystick button to play, that's just the space bar. No sound. I gotta get the sound working. Can't play Pac Man without sound. Oh, I can't get sound working just now. Can I? Maybe. Somewhere I have a damn adapter for that. Just can't do it right now. Alright. I'm gonna try this one more time with feeling. Woo, 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 woo. Oh, that was close. No, no. Could have got away there. Burp. Aw. One more game. Nope. Woo, 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 woo. Almost got a free man. No. Prepare to qualify. Oh, wrong game. No. Nope, nope, nope. Oh, I can't believe they didn't come in there for me. $24,000. So just for reference, I'm going to redo the same game. As much as you can duplicate a game. Okay, so this time I'm going to use Mr. Dave's keyboard, which is the one that inspired me to make my own. But his keyboard does have the original diamond pattern from the Coco 3. Alright, here we go. Pac Man with the Coco 3 keyboard. Nope. Nope. Oh, no. Oh, God. I can't believe it. I'm still alive. Doesn't happen. It's awkward because your fingers have to cross paths. Literally cross paths. Oh no! Okay, that wasn't the keyboard's fault. Actually doing better than I thought I would. But it's still awkward as hell when I keep fumbling over the wrong keys. Nope. No. No, man, that's not nice. It's not nice. It's really not nice. That's not fair. Okay, well. Had a relatively good game anyway, but this is still, it's just awkward. Your fingers cross each other and I don't like it. I never liked the diamond pattern for the arrow keys. No offense, Mr. Siegel. You did a good job. Alright, well that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. I hope you got some good ideas. I hope I answered any questions you may have. I do still have a few of the bare boards available, and I can even assemble a whole keyboard if you don't feel competent with a soldering iron or don't have the time to build one. I won't mind putting one together for somebody. Obviously it'll be a little bit more expensive than just buying a kit, but there are still some available if you need a keyboard for your color computer. And as you can see, we're closing on a shot of Mr. Dave's keyboard here, not even my own. I just wanted to pay an homage to Mr. Dave, thank him for sending me these and for the inspiration to create my own beautiful keyboards. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, don't be afraid to click that like button, and remember to Cocoa every day.